Hello Werewolf Army, this is Jaden's Videos, and I am back with another Wolfman review, and this is a very, very special Wolfman review. And the reason why is because this is a Wolfman review on Nightmare Harvester. Of course, we all know, but I'm just going to say it anyways, just in case there are some people who don't know. This Nightmare Harvester is a new for 2018 Halloween prop being sold at Spirit Halloween, and he is my second favorite prop of the year. Looming Strawman is my favorite, and I hopefully will be getting him today. And I just got Nightmare Harvester yesterday, and he is so cool. I am so happy I've finally been able to get him. I've been waiting all year to get this guy ever since Spirit sneak peeked him, and I've been waiting for my store to get a box in of him. Same with Looming Strawman, and I'm so glad that I'm finally able to get both of them, and I'm so glad I have Nightmare Harvester. He is an absolutely outstanding prop, and I will get into more of the things I like about him after I show all of his detail and everything like that. But first, of course, I want to show his detail and everything about him, which I absolutely love. So without further ado, we're going to get into him. I'm starting at his head, of course. His head looks very awesome. It is enormous. I'll compare it to my hand real quick. It is huge. He is an absolutely monstrous, just massive, huge prop. He's honestly the biggest prop that I own. When I was setting him up yesterday, I was in complete shock about how big he is. I had to move Towering Chained Ghost out of my room to get him in here. Well, of course, I always have to move a prop out, but Towering Chained Ghost is a very big prop, and the reason I had to move Towering Chained Ghost is because this guy is an enormous prop. He's not the tallest prop I have. The tallest prop I have is definitely Towering Chained Ghost, but this guy, he's only like a foot shorter, if not even. I think he's only a few inches shorter, actually, than Towering Chained Ghost, but he's a lot bigger. Like, his size, his width, everything about him is a lot bigger, and he's very tall. So he's definitely the biggest prop that I own, and he is crazy cool. So let me just get into him. His head is enormous. I already mentioned that. It's very cool. You've got it's a clear plastic type material under here, and then the fabric is very see-through, so if you have him a light behind him, you'll be able to see through his head, which is it's not really good that it's like that, but it's fine because most of the time you're not going to have a light behind him, especially in a haunt. It's not bright enough to show through his head, because right now I am in my room and the window is behind him and you can hardly see that it's see-through. And that is the sunlight shining through because it's midday. So with midday sunlight in an enclosed room, even though the room is pretty bright, and you still can't see it shining through him, I think in a haunt it would be perfectly fine. So it's not a big issue. His head looks awesome. It really does. I love the scarecrow look to it because he obviously is a scarecrow thing. He's a scarecrow. But he's very cool. I love the detail on it. The just black spots. It's not like extraordinary detail on the head, but it definitely is enough to make him look cool. It's got a bunch of black shading around it. His eyes are blacked out, and his head, it looks a lot like Swinging Scarecrow's head, very similar to it if Swinging Scarecrow had light up eyes, that is. Very cool. His iris sensor is on his nose right here, so it's very hard to see because it blends in with the color of his nose, which I like. Like I already mentioned, his head just looks so awesome. He's got this awesome mouth right here. His head is in a skeleton shape, of course, as you can notice, but of course it has a scarecrow burlap thing over it, because usually scarecrows have a kind of skeletal looking face with a burlap sack over that face. His mouth looks really cool. His mouth has great movement, it really does. I love these little strands that hang off of his mouth. Looks really cool, adds to the scarecrow effect. Very awesome prop. And the head actually isn't a full-sized head. It's only the front half. And then the rest of the head, the back, the motor and stuff to the mouth is completely exposed. But that is fine because he has a hood that covers it up, so you can't even tell. And it's actually good because it makes it a lot easier to get to the wires and stuff in his head. And so that is really not a complaint, but actually a good thing, because like, if he didn't have the hood, then it would be very bad, of course. But with the hood, it really doesn't matter at all. Anyways, his hood, not much detail, but it still looks cool. I like how it's green, and it's got black on the inside, only in the front of the inside, so you can see it. So you can see the black when his hood's around him, but then the rest is just green. Very cool. The hood goes over, it isn't only on his head, it's actually a separate piece, not connected to his shirt, but it goes over his shirt, and the hood part goes over his head. You can see there's a bunch of creepy cloth on him, which I really like. I'm going to go around back of him real quick just to show this a little bit better. The creepy cloth actually has, this is a complaint I had with Pumpkin Patch Prowler, and I'm going to show this. His creepy cloth, you just got to drape it on him, and so it falls off rather easily. But with this guy, he's actually got Velcro that straps around his neck, so the creepy cloth is not going to come off, which I really like. That's a very good added thing that they have. The creepy cloth looks really cool. Got a lot of cool shading on it that makes it look very worn out and old, and it goes down very far, really. I really like it. I like how it goes over his hunchback, and I'll show the hood. This is the part that connects to the hood, and under that is his shirt. So as I was saying, it's two separate pieces. So he's pretty much got 3 layers of clothing, including the creepy cloth on top of him. And that's really cool. He's got a hunchback, which I really like. It's very creepy, and it makes him very, very tall. The hunchback really adds to his height. And he's also got a spine piece, which I thought was really weird. He's got a little piece. It's built just like arms and leg poles, except it is for his spine, so it hooks in there, and it gives his spine a little bit more of the hunchback, which I really like that they did that, because it sticks out a lot, and without it, he wouldn't have as much of a hunchback, so I really like that they did that. It definitely adds to it, and I thought it was very unique and different when I saw that, because there's no other props I know of that have spine pieces, so I thought it was really cool. So moving down, his clothes are just plain green. They've got a little bit of tears at the bottom, of course, but they're just plain green. But I like that they added the creepy cloth, because without the creepy cloth, his clothes would look pretty plain. But with it, it looks good. He's got a rope that you tie loosely around his waist, and I think that really adds to it. It really reminds me of Harbinger of Hell's rope. I really like that they added that. Moving down to his hands, which are one of the coolest parts about him. This guy, honestly, I know he's not a professional prop, and I know he doesn't have the detail or quality of a professional prop, but he reminds me of a professional prop, if you get what I'm saying. He has the look and design of a professional prop. A lot of professional props have the look and design that this guy has, with the hands and the feet looking very professional-like in their design and concept, and just his whole size just seems like something you would see in professional haunt. Of course, if it had more detail and better quality. I'm not complaining about the detail or quality, but we all know that professional props do have more detail because that's why they're professional. But I'm just saying, he reminds me of one, to be honest. Especially his hands. His hands are enormous. You can see him compared to my hand. I have to wrap my whole hand around his fingers, and I can do that. It's pretty crazy. His hands are huge. They are golden. In the teaser trailer and in the pictures of him, they do not look golden, but in person they're golden. I honestly like that they're golden. It just makes it look very different and cool. They're so huge. He's got such huge hands. His fingers are so long and creepy. I love how he's kind of got, it's kind of like roots wrapping around his hands a little bit. I like it. The detail on his hands is really, really good. You can see the bottom there. They look great. The other hand, too, looks very awesome. And this hand holds the jack-o'-lantern, which I'll get into now. So overall, hands look absolutely amazing on this guy. Here's the jack-o'-lantern. I love it. This is one of the coolest things about this guy, is that he comes with an extra jack-o'-lantern. And I think that's one of the things that added on to his $269.99 price, is that the jack-o'-lantern itself is massive. And it flickers too, which I really like. It doesn't just stay lit, it actually flickers, and it adds to the realism of it. Detail on the jack-o'-lantern isn't too extraordinary. It just looks like a plain jack-o'-lantern, but that doesn't matter because it still looks very awesome. He holds it, and it's not Velcro or anything. It actually locks into place there on the bottom, which is really cool. And I really like how he's holding it, like, you can't position it facing forward or facing the other direction. Because of the lock into place, it's always going to be facing this direction, but I like that. It makes it more realistic. If it was facing completely straight, it wouldn't be as realistic, because usually when you pick up a jack-o'-lantern, odds are it's not going to be facing completely forward in front of you, so I like how it's slanted a little bit and makes it more realistic and gives it more character, really. And I really like how he's holding it too. It just looks really cool. It's a very awesome piece that they added to this prop. He's got his very, very long legs, which I really like. It's, of course, he's bent at the knee like most towering props, and though he does not have towering in his name, he is definitely still a towering prop. And he's not made by Seasonal Visions either. He's actually made by WO, the same company that made Michael Myers for this year. But he's still a towering prop because we were actually talking about this on a group chat on Instagram. Me and a bunch of other haunters were yesterday. He has the same characteristics of a towering prop. He moves the same as a towering prop. He's tall. He's pretty much everything that could make him a towering prop. His legs are really long. He's just got normal green pants, but it still looks really cool. And then here are his feet, which are one of the coolest parts about him. It's so different and unique. I have never seen a prop with feet like this before. Like I said, they remind me of professional prop feet, like just the way they look. I love how it kind of branches. It definitely seems like roots, like he's made out of a tree, kind of. Like he's a scarecrow that's like part tree, part skeleton, part... I don't know, but it's awesome. His feet have great detail, they really do. They've got all the different swirls that a tree's roots would have. These are golden, just like his hands, which I really like. And just everything about his feet just looks super cool. I love how he's only got 2 toes. It definitely makes him look more like a tree, like these are his roots. And I really like it. It just looks awesome. And really, the feet just look super cool on this guy. And they're one of the best parts about this prop, in my opinion. Of course, the best part is the whole prop itself and his face and everything. But it is definitely one of the best props. This prop measures roughly 7 feet tall, and he's very wide and very large too, so he is a very big prop. And he is the first towering scarecrow we have ever gotten, which I really like. Though he is not made by SVI, he is clearly still a towering scarecrow. And without further ado, I am definitely going to show him to you, but actually first, so there is going to be some further ado. Last night when I was activating him, his pants got wrapped around his motor, and it kind of lifted his pants up so they weren't covering his leg anymore, and if I kept it like that, he probably would have broke him. So, fair warning, please try as hard as you can if you get this guy to keep his pants as far away from his motor as you can. It's kind of hard because his motor is close to where his pants are supposed to wrap around the hip hoop, but just make sure, maybe check on him. I think the best way to check is just keep checking his leg. If the pants are moving up his leg, then most likely it's getting wrapped around his motor. So I would suggest you always check that. This guy has a lot of phrases, and he growls in between each phrase, which I like. He's got a whole phrase where he's just growling, and it's the same one in between each phrase, which I really like. It gives him a lot of character, so he's not just talking each phrase. You never know, like, when you're passing by him in a haunt, he could either be talking, he could either be growling. It's just really cool. I really like that they added that. But anyways, without further ado, let me turn this guy on. And yeah, he glows under the black light a little bit, which is really cool. So, let me...
There's got to be a logical way to explain this Christmas thing.
Let me wait until he is quiet. Okay, so, I am going to show this guy now, and he is a great prop. So, without further ado, here we go.
You'll never be going home.
Pumpkin Patch Prowler just turned on behind me. I'm just gonna press him anyways.
Return from where I came. The price of passage is 1
So the box says that he has, I was thinking about this when I was activating him, the box says that he has 4 phrases, and he indeed does. He says he has 3 talking phrases and 1 growling phrase, which I really like. And really, he has more than, well, the growling phrase is the same one every time, but it plays it so many times that he really has like 6 or so activations before he goes through every activation, which is really cool. And while I was activating him, I'm sure you noticed how loud his speaker is, and it is not even turned up all the way. I made sure to turn it down a little bit because I don't want the speaker to blow, but it is so loud and it's not even turned up all the way, and that is great. The quality of the speaker is great. He sounds amazing. Just, he's so good. So, I also love his light up eyes. As you saw, his jack-o'-lantern flickers, which I really like. Everything about him is just so cool, and he glows under a black light too, which I didn't expect because he doesn't really look like he would glow, but the creepy cloth definitely has some color to it that makes it glow. So, he is $269.99, which is a very high price, and he is the most expensive prop of the year sold at Spirit Halloween. I think his price is still high, and it could be cheaper. It could be $250. But I think it's kind of justifiable if you compare it to props like Cornstalker. Cornstalker is $250, and he has less animation than this guy does. He has head movement and waist movement. This guy has head movement, waist movement, and mouth movement. So he's definitely got more animation. He's got some of the most animation we've seen in a towering prop. Of course, Creepy Towering Clown has the same animation, but he's also got light up eyes and a flickering pumpkin, which really adds to it because the complexity of the fact that the pumpkin flickers definitely adds to the price. Also, his sheer size really definitely also adds to it. I do think it could be a little bit cheaper, but $269.99 is definitely more justifiable once you see him in person, especially once you see him in your home, because when you bring him home, he looks way bigger than he does in the store, just like every prop. And he's very cool, and really I think his price could be cheaper, but I'm not going to take off any points for it really, because once you have him, it definitely seems a lot more justifiable than it does when you don't have him. And so his price, high, very high price, and really, if you're willing to pay it, I say go for it, because he is a great prop. So on the Wolfman review rating scale, I'm going to give Nightmare Harvester 10 out of 10 claw marks, because he is my second favorite prop of the year, and he is so cool. Everything about him is just awesome. I really love him, and I'm sure you can probably expect that Looming Strawman will get 10 out of 10 too. But stay tuned for his review anyways, even though you probably already know the rating that he's going to get, just because I'll go in detail with him and show his activations and show all of his detail. For those of you who do not have him yet and are considering buying him or not, or for those of you that may have him and just want to see what I say about him. So anyways, this has been the review on Nightmare Harvester. Kind of lengthy, definitely more lengthy than Pumpkin Patch Prowler, but there is definitely a lot more to talk about with Nightmare Harvester. I do love Pumpkin Patch Prowler a lot, but there is more to talk about with Nightmare Harvester than Pumpkin Patch Prowler. So I hope you all enjoyed this Wolfman review. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing Wolfman reviews on each tabletop prop that I got recently that I have not reviewed yet, which is a lot, but I definitely will be doing it, and I am excited to do it. So I hope you all enjoyed. Keep howling at the moon, my werewolves.